Today I want to talk to you about one of the biggest reasons consultancy owners feel busy, overwhelmed and stuck, even if they've got a good team around them. Because on the surface, it looks like you're delegating, you're handing tasks off, you're empowering the team. But behind the scenes, everything still runs through you. Decisions, approvals, client calls, invoices, emails are all quietly bottlenecks at you as the founder. In today's episode, I'm going to show you why delegating tasks without delegating decisions keeps you trapped. Why the whole just check with me first before you send it out is one of the most expensive habits in your business, and what real delegation actually looks like if you want your time back without things falling apart. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Josh. I spent 10 years as a director and shareholder of a 3 million engineering consultancy that we grew into a 30 million engineering, town planning, surveying and architecture business. Today, we're going to break this down into 3 parts. First, why most acts of delegation fail. Second, how owners unwillingly stay in control while pretending to let go. And third, what has to change if you want the business to move forward without you being behind every little decision. All right, so let's get into this. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is why delegating tasks without delegating decisions actually creates a fake handover. So I want to talk to you about why most delegation actually fails, because what actually happens is owners hand off the doing, they hand off the little task, they hand off the thing that needs to be done, but they quietly keep the thinking and what's actually going on is the authority for themselves. So in this first sort of point or part of the episode, what I see happening so much out there in the marketplace or in the industry is business owners hand off the small little bits and pieces, the work. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you tackle that? Hey, can you call this person? But they don't give context. And I'd like to keep authority over all the things, because what's really going on is if I keep authority, if I keep control, then I know what's going on in the business, and then I can keep my eye or the finger on the pulse on everything that's happening in the business, because I don't really want to let go. So what happens is the team does the doing, they do the thing, they do the task, but you as the founder, you still do the thinking. And don't get me wrong, there's certain bits of thinking that I want you to keep, like the big picture strategic stuff, where's the next client coming from, what am I doing with my business, am I going to do mergers and acquisitions, all that sort of stuff. That has to stay with you. But we want to get to a point where you're delegating. We'll talk about this later in the episode. We want to get to a point where you're offloading the ownership of the task as well, because every time you say to a team member, hey, can you just, can you send that to me before that thing goes out? Or can I just check that before that goes to the client? Or come and see me before, you make that final decision on the project. It continually resets you as the bottleneck. It continually trains the team that everything has to come through you. And so businesses, don't stall because your team are lazy or people don't know what they're doing. Your business growth stalls because no one else in your business is allowed to make decisions. Everything has to come through you, and that is a growth thing. That's a fear thing. That's something all business owners have to go through. So if this is you, don't beat yourself up. If every decision in the business still lives with you, you haven't actually delegated. You've just redistributed effort. So if you continually feel like the team, is helping and doing things, but everything still comes through you, I want you to ask yourself, have you actually delegated decisions and ownership, or have you just handed off the work while keeping control? So that's something I want you to think about as you're listening to this episode. All right, so what I want to talk to you about now is this whole concept of just check with me before it goes out, or before you call the client, come and see me, or I just want to have a look at those drawings before they go to council. This whole concept is the fastest way to stay overloaded in your business. And look, don't get me wrong, everyone does this. As you're growing your business, it's about you letting go and about you becoming comfortable with the team. But this single thing or this single habit is the fastest way for you as a business owner to stay the bottleneck, stay stuck, stay overloaded. And what happens more importantly is it trains your team to wait for you. So it feels harmless at first. It feels like, you're being responsible. It's like you're wanting to just double check things. You're wanting to make sure the quality's there. And I get it, it's your baby, it's your business. It's your name on the door in terms of things going out under your letterhead. But what happens is you're training your team to wait for you instead of acting. You're training a bunch of mini kind of robots to not think for themselves. And what happens is over time, confidence actually drains out of capable people in your team. If they're constantly questioning themselves, questioning that decision, I'm not allowed to make that decision, I've got to check with the boss first, you're eroding the confidence of capable people in your team who are chomping at the bit to say, hey, give me more ownership in the business. Let me take control or take ownership over this thing in the business. And so what you're doing by saying, just check with me first, or let me review that before it goes out, is you're eroding the confidence of your team. You're also creating dependency on you. Have a think about that. Like, could you ever take a holiday? If everything needs to go through you, could you ever leave the business? Could you ever go away for a couple of weeks? Because the team are trained to do everything and everything comes through you. And so that's why you as the founder, you feel constantly interrupted. You feel like you get to the end of your days and your weeks and you're like, I don't know what I actually got done. It's because these constant interruptions are there because, like, not because the team are weak or they're not competent. It's because the system that you have built into your business all has to come through you. And so if everything needs your sign off, everything needs to come through you. The business can't actually move faster than you can. Like, if you're working 40-hour weeks and you're responsible and signing off on everything and you're reviewing everything, you're the bottleneck, you're the limitation on the business. The business can't move faster than you. So if your day is full of interruptions, if your day is full of like signing things off and hey boss, quick question for you, I just want you to ask yourself, am I creating clarity and trust in the business, or am I unintentionally training my team to wait for me? So how do we turn these ideas into reality? How do we actually look at this concept of real delegation, transferring ownership, authority, and consequences to those on your team? And so what I want to pack with you now is like how transferring ownership and actual decision rights to people in your team is actually what's going to finally free your time up without dropping standards in the business. And so what I want to talk to you about is like transferring ownership to the right people in your business. Like, you think about some of the high performers in your team, like they're going to step up, they're going to own the system, they're going to own the outcomes, they're going to tweak the system if something doesn't work. Transferring ownership to people in your team means that obviously someone else owns the outcome, not just the task. And so I want you to think now about things that are on your plate that you could transfer to people on your team, and knowing that they would take true ownership over it. Obviously, transferring ownership to the wrong person on your team, you're going to get the wrong outcomes, so it's got to be transferred to the right person. But transferring ownership means that you're delegating the outcomes too. You're like, hey, this is your gig now. I want you to own the invoicing process, or I want you to own the project delivery process, or the project kickoff process, or I want you to own the drafting standards, or whatever is relevant to you in your business. And you're giving that to someone who is capable on your team, who cares about the outcomes, not just the task, but the actual outcomes, and they're willing to actually tweak, refine, take on feedback, and make the whole thing better. And so if you think about it, if all of that doesn't come through you now, that's been dispersed to other people in your team, think of the leverage there. Think of having 5 or 6 or 10 or 15, however big your team is, people in your business owning certain elements of what happens on a day-to-day basis. Means a load is taken off your shoulders and given to quality, competent people. So ownership means like someone owns the outcomes, not the tasks. Authority means they're trusted to make decisions within obviously clear boundaries. Consequences mean obviously they're learning, they're adjusting, they're improving without you jumping into rescue, because that's gonna come up as well. You're gonna be able to, you can see something going off the rails and you're gonna want to jump in and rescue them. Please don't do that. Trust them, help them, but let them own the outcomes, the authority, and the consequences. This isn't about you disappearing as a business owner. It's about you delegating decision lanes to people in your business. Businesses that work without the owner hovering and micromanaging, all that sort of stuff, are built deliberately, not accidentally. So it's a process to go through. It starts with you. It starts with you picking one process or one system or one outcome, picking one person in your business and giving it to them, and slowly building from there. So if you genuinely want like your time back without sacrificing standards, things slipping in your business, I want you to ask yourself, who here in the business truly owns outcomes? And have I given them the authority and the space to grow into that responsibility? Okay, one of the best examples of this, of delegation, shifting authority, comes from an amazing boardroom client called Ruben. So before making his next hire into the business, Ruben did something that most business owners skip. He actually, he didn't ask, what can I hand off or what can I just give to someone? He actually sat down and said, what decisions am I still unnecessarily holding on to? And so he mapped it out exactly, like all the things that lived in his head, admin, invoicing, email management, marketing, internal documentation. He mapped all of these things out and actually recorded like simple Loom videos or simple videos explaining not just what to do, but actually how to think about it as well. So videos to get things out of his head, not just mapping out a task, but actually like, here's how I think about it and here's how I want you to think about it too. And so once he'd done that, he then onboarded a VA or a virtual assistant, like someone in an admin role. He didn't just drip feed tasks to them and then just kind of hover and make sure they were doing it right. He gave clear ownership, clear authority, and set clear expectations. And the result was immediate. Like emails, invoicing, marketing workflows, internal playbooks moved without him even touching them. And not because the VA was some kind of magical unicorn, but because Ruben had actually stopped rescuing and started trusting the structure that he'd actually built. And so that's the difference. Delegation here worked because the thinking had already been done and the authority was genuinely transferred to other people on his team. So if you take one thing from today's episode, let it be this. If your business still needs you to approve everything, you haven't really delegated yet. Start by paying attention to where decisions still default back to you. Look at the approvals, the interruptions, the just checking messages. That's your work on list. Delegation done properly doesn't lower standards, it actually raises them. And it's one of the fastest ways to build a business that feels calm, controlled, and sustainable. And if you'd like help building a more efficient and profitable consultancy, one that grows consistently, increases revenue, and gives you the time and the flexibility you started this business for, check out our 10 million plus consultancy roadmap training. It's a step-by-step guide to growing to your next level, whether it's to 1 to 3 to 5 million or 10 million and beyond, and building a business you can be genuinely proud of. You'll find a link to that training below this episode. Take care and talk soon.